I stood in front of 50 cheering family members, handed my identical twin sister the microphone, and watched her face turn completely pale as I announced to the room that the baby she was carrying belonged to my husband. Welcome to Miss Hazels Story House. I'm Chloe, and this is the story of how the person who shares my face decided to steal my life, and how I made sure she regretted it. Growing up, Maya and I were inseparable. We had the exact same green eyes, the same curly dark hair, and the same laugh. But beneath the surface, we couldn't have been more different. I was always the responsible one, building a career in graphic design and saving for the future. Maya was chaotic. She chased adrenaline, bounced from job to job, and always seemed to resent me for having a stable life. When I met David, I thought I had found my happy ending. He was kind, grounded, and deeply supportive. We got married after 2 years of dating, bought a cozy house with a big backyard, and immediately started trying to build a family. We wanted a baby more than anything. But month after month, the tests came back negative. 1 year turned into 2, then 3. Infertility is a silent thief. It steals your joy, your sleep, and your confidence. David would hold me tight while I cried in bed, whispering that we would get through it together. He was my rock, or at least, that is what I told myself. Then came the family dinner 6 months ago. Maya walked into my parents' dining room, tapped her glass with a fork, and announced she was 12 weeks pregnant. The room erupted into cheers. My parents were ecstatic. But when someone asked who the father was, Maya's smile stiffened. She claimed it was a casual mistake with a guy who left town, and she wanted to raise the baby alone. My heart broke a little for my own empty arms, but looking at my sister, I felt a rush of fierce protection. Maya was broke, disorganized, and completely unprepared. I looked at David, and he nodded. We decided right then to help her. We moved Maya into our guest room. For 4 months, I did everything a supportive sister could do. I cooked her favorite meals to help with her morning sickness. I spent thousands of dollars buying her a crib, a stroller, and tiny outfits. David was incredibly helpful too. He would drive her to appointments, run out late at night to buy her specific food cravings, and check in on her constantly. I felt so proud of my family. I thought this crisis was bringing us all closer together. Everything changed on a random Tuesday afternoon. Maya was out at a doctor's appointment, and David was at the office. I was doing the weekly chores and walked into Maya's room to drop off a fresh basket of laundry. As I set the basket down on her unmade bed, a small piece of glossy paper caught my eye. It had fallen out of her purse, which was sitting open on the nightstand. It was a 20-week ultrasound photo. I picked it up, smiling automatically at the little outline of the baby. But as I turned it over, my eyes caught a stapled document underneath it from a private fertility clinic in the city. My heart dropped into my stomach. The room suddenly felt freezing cold. It wasn't a standard medical chart. It was a formal legal agreement for a directed sperm donation. And there, written in clear, bold black ink, was the donor's name, David Miller. My husband. I couldn't breathe. The walls felt like they were crashing down on me. David had donated his sperm to my twin sister? Why? My mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe they did it to give me a baby? Maybe it was some twisted, secret gift because of my infertility? I desperately grabbed Maya's iPad, which was sitting on her desk, unlocked. She had never changed her passcode from our childhood birthday. I opened her messages. I didn't find a clinical conversation about fertility. I found an absolute horror show. The messages went back over a year. There were photos of them together in hotel rooms while I was away on business trips. There were texts from David telling Maya how much he loved her, how he couldn't stand touching me anymore, and how he wished she was his wife. And then, I saw the message that shattered my soul entirely. It was from David, sent right before Maya announced her pregnancy. It read, "The infertility cover-up is working perfectly. Everyone will just think you used a donor or had a fling, and I get to raise our child right under Chloe's nose. She suspects nothing. They weren't trying to help me. They were having a full-blown affair, using my deepest medical heartbreak as a shield to hide their twisted relationship and raise a child together in my own home." I sat on that floor for 2 solid hours. The crying stopped after 10 minutes, replaced by a cold, sharp, lethal numbness. I looked at the baby clothes I had bought. I looked at the room I had decorated. The sadness burned away, and a raging fire of pure anger took its place. They thought I was stupid. They thought I was weak. They were about to find out exactly who they were dealing with. The day of the party arrived. The backyard was beautiful, filled with laughter, music, and the smell of barbecue. Maya looked beautiful in a long white dress, standing next to David, who was acting like the proud, helpful brother-in-law. Every time he touched her shoulder, my skin crawled, but I smiled and waited for my moment. Finally, it was time for the reveal. My dad called everyone to the center of the yard. Maya and David stood next to the giant black balloon, holding a pin. My dad handed me the microphone so I could read the results. I walked up, took the mic, and looked at the crowd of people who loved us. Then I looked directly at my sister and my husband. "Before we find out if it's a boy or a girl," I said, my voice steady and clear through the speakers, "I want to say a few words about my sister. Maya has been keeping a huge secret about who the father of this baby is. She told us he left town. But the truth is, the father is actually very close to home." The crowd went completely silent. People stopped talking. Maya's smile froze, and David took a step back, his eyes widening in sudden panic. "The father of my sister's baby," I continued, reaching into my bag and pulling out 50 printed copies of their text messages and the fertility clinic contract, "is my husband, David. They have been having an affair for over a year, using my infertility to cover up their child." I threw the papers into the air. The wind caught them, scattering them directly into the hands of my parents, my aunts, my uncles, and our friends. Gasps echoed across the yard. My mother dropped her glass, shattering it on the concrete patio. Maya started shaking, looking around the yard like a trapped animal. David tried to step toward me, stuttering, "Chloe, wait, let me explain, it's not what it looks like, don't worry about the balloon," I said, dropping the microphone to the ground with a loud, ringing thud. "It's a boy. And you two deserve each other." I turned around, walked out of that backyard, got into my car, and drove straight to a hotel. I had already emptied our joint bank accounts the day before, signed a lease on a gorgeous new apartment downtown, and retained the best divorce lawyer in the city. It has been a year since that afternoon. The divorce went through smoothly because David was too ashamed to fight me in court. My parents completely cut Maya off, and without their financial help or my support, she and David are now drowning in debt, living in a tiny apartment, constantly fighting over the mess they made. As for me, my design business completely took off. For the first time in my life, I am genuinely happy. I learned that some people will cross oceans for you, while others, even the ones with your own face, will drown you just to stay afloat. But I didn't drown. I learned how to swim. If this story moved you, please subscribe to Miss Hazel's Story House, leave a comment with your thoughts, and stay connected for more stories. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next story. Have a good day and take care of yourself. God bless you.